California.
Yes, we are. Beautiful, beautiful city. We're going to find out all about it.
Yeah.
Just arrived. Here we go. Our beautiful, beautiful.
Hello, we are coping used to be live talk, right? But now we're just coping. We are telling life stories and about becoming. Because when we started in COVID time, we talked all about coping. Coping was kind of in the air. Everybody wanted to know how to cope. And guess what?
Yes.
At the end of COVID, it became not as important. And I started feeling restless. And also, what I missed, Scott, was our initial start. How we started without any experience on Facebook Live and out of our house. And also, the trick was that you never knew what I was going to talk about. I'm sure people loved it. How about you?
There were times that I loved it, and there was times that I was a little challenged. How
Well,
spontaneous can I possibly be?
I'm not apologizing for that, for the reason that people want to see real life. There are so many
Yes.
well polished podcasts, and we are who we are. We are two pastors serving
Yes.
5 churches now and with wonderful people. And that's what gave me idea. Because in our new setting, living in the Pacific Northwest, what we found now, lots of interesting people, like, for example, the first mayor woman in Kalama, or writers or musicians. We have specialists who are beyond even our understanding, who built so special microchips actually for spaceships, I've learned recently. Not releasing the name, but it's just interesting. We have a specialist who has a podcast on fibromyalgia. And so we have a wonderful lady we've met on the Northwest, who is actually the initiator of the all nation wide movement that is called tiny homes, or tiny houses. Remember that? Can you hear me?
Somehow I have lost audio. I'm not sure why that is.
Okay. So, okay, while you're looking for the audio, I will continue talking. So, the point of our new beginning is, as you see, we changed the coping life talk into coping with the capital P. And the logo that we have is the sunshine instead of O. It's a bright sign. And so we will talk about how coping not overlived itself. Coping skills are important. But today we have just a short introduction to our new podcast that will go live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. If you noticed and if you followed us before, you probably noticed that we changed the date. We used to go on Saturdays at 5 p.m. But now people work and it's a springtime, so we tried a new time, Tuesday at 6 p.m. So people will already be home and relaxed. And especially we thought of people in a central time, because they are 2 hours ahead and 3 hours ahead in Eastern time. So we thought to help people catch up and relax and maybe if they are interested to hear us, they will join us. So I invite all our followers to regroup and prepare for a longer ride now that is not affected by COVID or any accidental sudden changes in life. That was original idea, sudden changes. But Scott, what made me think that if we live constantly in a coping mode, what kind of life is that? It's like what we float from one coping skill, and then it's like, oh, what is on my saved coping skills catalog? Oh, I need this, right? I need this coping skill today. And I think I started feeling mechanical. I started feeling that at that time we had great guests from all over the country, even from Europe. But gradually I started sensing that I became, in a way, a manager and a coordinator of all that busy schedule. To find a guest, it's time and it's a challenge. Interesting guest, a double challenge, right? So
indeed,
managing that schedule was actually a full-time job on the top of my church and our busy life. So it became a challenge. So I decided to stop after podcast 100. We met the goal, 100 podcasts, and we quit. Not quit, but we put it on hold because we also were moving. We were moving to another location, another appointment. And so what was that question that you started asking me? Or maybe not a question, but it was like a comment that you started repeating almost every day.
The question that I asked, which was somewhat rhetorical, but somewhat serious, was, where are we? And it was in the context of having moved from the Midwest, where both of us had spent decades of our lives, moving from there to the Pacific Northwest, where we are certainly closer to grandchildren, but embracing a new context, a new ministry, a lot of changes.
Yeah,
and so,
absolutely.
And so the question naturally comes up: wow, where are we? Right?
Yes, I remember how one evening I thought you took our dog Luna outside, and I left the house, and I saw you out on the porch looking at the river, Columbia River. Oh, what a magic river, wide, and sometimes it goes up, and you see the tide. We loved walking along the river, it beautiful. But something was in your statement more philosophical. Where are we? It was I did not sense any nostalgia for the past. I did not sense any anxiety in that statement. Just simply, where are we? And we started talking about it, started joking about it when appropriate. But also, I think it started shaping our new rebranded podcast because even if we applied all our coping skills that we developed and I would say polished during COVID, and especially listening to so many wonderful specialists and podcasters, I realized here it's just really challenging every day if you have to live it as in a mode of coping. It's not right. It's challenging and it's tiring. So I want us all to transform whatever we go through. And that's what I think is going through. The idea is of this podcast that we will share stories of people, important stories, exceptional stories, but also unique stories. Each guest that we're going to host is unique. We will have younger women. We will have all the gentlemen. We will have all the women. We will have people from all kind of backgrounds. And I think it's important because this is how different we found Pacific Midwest, Northwest is actually is. people are so rich in their thinking and their stories and their experiences that we are here to learn. But so, and I apologize, I have a cold, of course. You see, that's pushing through. That's another illustration of reality. So we invite all our followers who followed us for 2 years during COVID to recoup and prepare to listen to stories that are inspiring, not in a way that people coped in a very difficult moment or had multiple coping skills, but in a way that they were able to live and become. So becoming someone who you wanted to be maybe your whole life, and somehow pushing through the difficult time made you who you wanted to be, or maybe you never even knew who you wanted to be, but this is who you are becoming. So you and I are married for 21 years. And we had all our ups and downs, and we were living through them, right?
Yes, we did.
And did you have any coping skills to do that?
Coping skills. I think you just have to learn. You have to develop as you go through adversity. We're certainly not born with coping skills. I mean, obviously, there's the basic human instincts that are part of our humanity, but some of the more sophisticated coping skills, you just, I think you learn by observing others. Hopefully it happens in the home, right? You watch your parents learn to cope, but you ultimately you have to make them your own, and kind of integrate them into your approach to life.
Absolutely, yes. And that's what you do not live with certain, like I mentioned, catalog and say, oh, for this situation, I have skill number 17 or 112. But instead, it became so organically you. But again, as I said, I don't want to live as a robot who has the best polished coping skills. I want to be alive. But that's what I think I invite us today to learn how to live through from people who did that, not because they knew how, not because they had the best or perfect skill set of this coping skills. That's what we rebranded, and we call it now CoPing with a capital P and O in the beginning before that. So. And it's no longer coping life talk, it's simply sharing stories. We will share our stories, right? I will challenge you many times and put you in a spot with my questions. I know. But I think that's what people liked about us. Also, we will not have our guests every week. That's what is essential. Because remember, we had them every Saturday. We stopped having our Saturdays completely. And it was difficult for our guests. So I suggested that we will have it our regular time, you and I. We will go just the two of us, like we started, weekly on Tuesdays. And then once in a while, occasionally on Thursdays, it will be announced specially. And we will have different guests. And we already lined up a few. But so that's a plan. And I'm excited about it. How about you?
Looking forward to what we're going to learn and experience, and new personalities that we're exposed, that we have been privileged to be exposed to, and then share with our viewing audience.
Yes. Also, we invite our listeners to, if you feel like you have a story and you want to share it, please let us know. You know where we are. You know how to use the chat on the Facebook or TikTok or on YouTube. So let us know. Also, today we will go just for hardly 15 minutes. because today is not a real actual time for us to talk. But it's a simply introduction to the new way of sharing stories. We have a podcast that we call CoPing, but also sharing stories and about becoming our new selves. And also, I want to mention today that we are in a Holy Week. People know that you and I, Scott, are pastors. So we serve wonderful 5 churches with the
Yes.
help of so many great pastors and lay speakers. I would not mention them today, but so we, as CoPing, we're beginning again today. And I invite during this week to slow down a little. I hope you will notice your breathing slows down. Your maybe you watch less of TV. How about you, Scott? With our marathon, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. We did have a few Netflix binge weeks where we just to detach and relax and just to get ourselves lost into a wonderful story. Particularly some of the stories of the Tudor period in England.
Yeah,
Just
we
get
love
lost
those
in some of
stories.
those old stories, historic stories.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to challenge you this week. So to slow down a little, we both started reading more. We
Mhm.
have a book club now in Longview United Methodist Church that will meet on in April on 22nd. It's Wednesday at 2 p.m. So, and I will be sure to provide the link that people can participate in the discussion. We discuss a book, Berry Pickers, which is a bestseller. And so Barbara Vining from Longview, she leads this group. And the reason it is important because we can share our experiences. But for a long time, reading books on iPad, like Kindle, I didn't have actually the whole book in my hands like this. And it does slow you down. So also
Yeah.
during this week, Scott, we have 2 services. We
Right.
have a service in Castle Rock during the day, and I invite people to come there at noon to meet others, to have fellowship, and also to experience the darkness, how the darkness comes into the world when we anticipate the light. Also, on the same day, at 6 in the evening, we will have similar service in St. Helens United Methodist Church in Oregon. You see, so from Washington
Yes.
to Oregon, and people are preparing intensely, and I hope it will be a good experience. But tell me then, what is the meaning of the Holy Week for you?
Oh goodness. Well, it's Holy Week is a journey from the anticipation and celebration of Palm Sunday, where Jesus is presented to his people, and they welcome him enthusiastically. But then the tide turns, the public opinion turns, and human beings are fickle, and we have our expectations about how life should be, how God should be, how our needs should be met, right? And so the tide of public opinion turns against
Yeah, true.
Jesus, and they go from shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, to now shouting, crucify him. So Holy Week takes us through a very dark time where it looks like darkness is going to take over the world.
Yeah.
Darkness is going to win, to overcome. But then we come to Easter morning and we find no, darkness will not overcome the light.
Right. So that's, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I did not mean to interrupt you, but that's a life. That's our life, right? So since you promised to have a short introduction, I did not mean to us to go to detailed description, but thank you, appreciate it, because what you touched and you started with the Palm Sunday, and this is important because we also have followers from Kansas City and St. Joseph, and there were so many people who joined that No King parade. And so on the same day, when we have Palm Sunday and we talk about parade, so many of our friends, especially I had so many posts and their sharings from St. Joseph, from surrounding counties here in the Pacific Northwest. It's important because you mentioned something very important. We people are fickle. And so we follow sometimes those who are popular, someone who is powerful. And that's what this week, Holy Week, teaches about the path to the cross. The cross that actually resolves everything for all of us, because we will hear stories on Thursday how Jesus was on that way to Golgotha, how he gave himself on the cross, and why. And so people struggle with that concept, and I invite you all to join us and to hear, to understand, because it's not a self-explanatory service, but it is simply you have to live through it. And that's how it is our podcast. We have to learn to live through pain, through questions, through uncertainty, through doubts, disappointment, without living the one we believe in. Because usually, as fickle people, like you said, we can just start following the crowd. Crowd is very powerful. And this is where we have to be careful to stick to our principles and also to value those values that are like justice and peace and peace in the heart and peace in life, and also to stand up against of injustice and against of what people suffer from when their dignity is put down. So that's what essentially our life is. We learn to push through, but we also need to learn to live through. As much as we value all our coping skills, we wake up and we have to learn to live our lives again. And again, we always tell that bad people not always go through bad times, and we always question why good people have so many problems. But again, everybody does. Everybody does. So bad or good, we all have challenges. So I invite you now to join us on next week when we will have a real podcast. Thank you, Scott. You will be challenged, and I invite you to turn off your mic because I started having an echo. But again, yeah. So welcome again, and we are Lydia and Scott. And so I invite you next Tuesday to join us, and we will be faithful listeners to your stories. God bless you. And here is our new advertisement, because not advertisement, but a short video. If you remember, we had the CoPing live talk video, bright and loud music. Now it's very serene, very simple, and this is who we are now.